guys, so we just wanted to shoot a quick video and share some tips that we have learned and kind of figured out as young parents who have small kids on how to get your babies and your kids to sleep through the night.
We have been very fortunate to have great sleepers. We have a almost 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 9-month-old, and they all generally sleep for about 12 hours a night. They all generally sleep for about 12 hours a night. We put them to bed between 7 and 8, and they stay in bed until between 7 and 8. Early on, our kids slept pretty good.
Typically about within the first week or so, they had good 5 to 6 hour stretches. And even by the end of the first month, they were going about 8 hours. The very first thing that we did from day one in the hospital is establishing a consistent eating routine. And so we typically did every 3 hours. I think with Jackson, our oldest, we started out every 4 hours, and then we learned that for him that was not the best because the last hour of that stretch was just a nightmare for everybody. And so we scooted him back, and we're doing every 3 hours, and I think we started with that with the later kids as well.
But we did 7 feedings a day, so seven total feedings, 3 hours apart.
So 3 hours was the goal, and just keeping a routine, a consistent routine. We tried to start at the same time every day, so they knew what to expect, and then we knew what to expect, and it just made things easier on everybody.
The next thing that we did, which I think gets overlooked a lot of times, is helping the baby figure out when night and day is. Newborns sleep a ton. They say that they sleep 20 hours a day, which means that they're awake for about 4 hours. And our goal was to make that 4 hours be during the day. And so we would just try to help them figure out when nighttime was. And so that means during the day, we'd have the lights brighter. I started making them uncomfortable, and
I called this daddy torture time because it was so hard for my mama heart to disturb them and make them unhappy. So he would take their socks off, unbutton their shirt a little bit.
Yeah, they're all it's easy. They're all cozy and cuddly and everything. And I honestly, I'd unbutton them sometimes, and I just try to keep them awake as much as I can, and it was impossible, really.
And they would sleep through most of that, honestly, most of the time. But the idea is to making that where it's maybe a little less comfortable sleep. They have their sleep time when they have a dark room and a sound machine, and they know that that's nighttime.
And then once we did that, we would try to extend the nighttime.
Typically, Merritt, for example, he's our youngest, he's 9 months old. Even during the first week, he was waking up about 3:30. And we would every night try to add about 30 minutes or so and stretch out that sleeping period to where he was sleeping more during the night, obviously, than during the day. We got to the point where every night he slept a little bit longer and a little bit longer because of those short little periods that we would stretch. He eventually got to, towards the end of the first month, he was sleeping a good 8 hours.
So another thing that we have done with all of our kids now, we did this with the very first one, is we have not had them sleep in our rooms. They sleep in their own room, in their own bed, and I think this really helps them kind of establish their bedtime, their nighttime routine. It's not when mommy and dad are gonna hold them. We don't rock them to bed either. They're put down in their cribs, and then they sleep, and they figure that out.
And another thing with them sleeping in their room that we did pretty early on was putting them on their tummy to sleep. And I know that is kind of a hot topic. There's a lot of do this or don't do that, and you hear every side and every angle. And I feel as a new mom especially, you get advice from everywhere that you don't necessarily want always. And so that was just a decision that we made together to put them on their tummies because they hardly ever slept on their backs. And it just made for no sleep for anybody, so that was not helpful. And so that was just something that we had to just kind of let go of our worry and trust that the Lord would take care of that. And it's hard as a new mom especially. I feel there's just so many things that you can worry about if you let your mind run and just think of all the things that can go wrong.
Fear as a parent is a big thing. So, there's so many things we could spend our day worrying about. Already, we only have an almost 6-year-old, and I know it's going to get even more so with more things to worry about. The Bible tells us that worrying doesn't add a single day to your life, and it doesn't add a single day to your kid's life either. All it does is add stress and anxiety, and it doesn't help anything. Whether he's in our room or in another room, it's
back or in Zelly.
Yeah, God's in control of it.
Yeah, we have no control over his next breath, and so just realizing that and trusting the Lord.
And these tips, again, they're not meant to be covering everything. We don't have it all figured out by any means. These are just a few things that we've done that we felt like that have helped, and they may not work for your situation and your kids. Maybe some of them do, some of them don't.
And one of the most important things that will help you, I feel like, is starting from day one.
Yes.
Not waiting till they're 6 months old or 8 months old or whatever to start establishing the routine, because then they've already established their own routine. So just starting early on, and then everybody can get on the same page sooner. So we hope this will be helpful for you guys. If you have a new baby at home or know someone who's expecting, just some things that, like we said, have worked for us. So feel free to share also if you have any good tips that maybe we haven't tried and something that's worked well for you. We would love to hear that too.